Hi there. In today's video, I want to talk about two words, by and with. Now, these are, of course, prepositions. Let's have a look at this example. The story was written by Jane. This is a passive sentence. I wrote the story with Jane. This is an active sentence. Now, if we just cut the ends off, by Jane or with Jane, what's the difference? Well, here we would say the story was written by Jane. Jane was the only person that wrote the story. But with Jane means that she isn't the only person that wrote the story. She was writing the story with somebody else, with me. Now, what I want to really talk about in this video is using the two prepositions where they're both used for the same purpose. And that is to talk about taking action of some sort. What type of action are we going to take, and what do we need in order to take the action? So they both share something in common. Both by and with are followed with nouns. By most often is followed with a gerund, with an ing form of a noun. We use by to talk about the action itself. What action are we going to take? We use with to talk about what do we need in order to do the action. So by is what's the action? With is what do we need? What objects do we need to carry out the action? So let's have a look at some examples. Jane started by presenting a new idea. And here we have by presenting. Presenting here is the verb, but we've changed it into the noun, into the gerund, presenting. Number 2, many can learn by sharing this video. By sharing. 3, increase your health by eating less sugar. By eating. 4, the team won by trying harder. And 5, Max improved by listening to his teacher. So in each one of these examples, we're talking about the action. What action do we take? Jane started by presenting. What did she do? She presented. In the second one, many can learn by sharing. What's the action? Sharing the video. In number 3, the action is eating less sugar. Number 4, trying harder. We have to try harder if we want to win. And in the 5th one, the action is to listen, by listening. So now let's look at some examples where we use with. And here again, we're going to talk about not what action we need to take, but what do we need to carry out the actions. So let's have a look at these 5 examples. I always unlock my car with a key. We don't say by a key, we would say with a key. 2, she needs to break the news with empathy. So empathy means to understand or to try and understand how somebody else feels. So empathy is what we need. It's a psychological, it's an attribute, it's a human attribute. That is the tool that we need to break difficult news. Number 3, the concert will close with fireworks. That simply means the concert will finish with fireworks. And what do we need here? We need fireworks. The economy can only be saved with a stimulus package. What do we need to save the economy? We need money. A stimulus package is to do with money. And 5, Peter's business should be successful with marketing. So what does he need to have a successful business? He needs marketing. Now in this last sentence, we could say Peter's business should be successful by marketing it. So we can use by in this last sentence, but then we need to follow with the pronoun. By marketing what? By marketing the business. By marketing it. Now let's have a look at some really typical collocations that we use with by to talk about actions. Now, these are just examples that you're going to have to memorize. It's not something that has any logical rule or reasoning to it, which is exactly what a collocation is. Collocations are groups of words that we put together where no rules actually fit. So let's have a look at this one. We can say by mistake. Oh, I bought the orange bag by mistake, by accident. I wanted the pink bag. By mistake, by accident. I'll talk to Claire by phone. I think I'm going to go to the mountains on the weekend. I'm going to go by train. We say by train, by car, by bus, by coach, by ferry, by foot. That means walking. How are you going to pay for that? That's quite an expensive golf set. Jim's going to pay for it by credit card. He's not going to pay by cash, but by credit card. We wouldn't say he's going to pay by money. No, he's going to pay with money. I think I'm going to make a cake. I'm going to put all of the ingredients together and I'm going to stir it by hand. I'm making the cake by hand. Not by an electric mixer, but manually. How is Sue going to contact me? Well, she said she was going to contact me by email. And there we have some very typical collocations where we use preposition by. So we have all of these nouns, as we can see: mistake or accident, phone, car, bus, train, etc. By credit card, by hand, by email. All of these are nouns, but we use these collocations because what they're representing is an action. So now that we've quickly covered how to use by and with, here's a little bit of a quiz. Let's look at the following 8 sentences. All you have to decide is whether to insert by or with. Let's go with the first sentence. A lot of people do their banking computer. Tick, 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 tick. Yes, if you said by, then you are correct. And we say by computer because this is an action and by definition it's a collocation. Number 2. We went up the mountains chairlift. Tick, 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 tick. Yes, if you said by, once again, you are correct. When we say by chairlift, this is a collocation that describes an action. Number 3. I stirred the cake batter, a spatula. Tick, 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 tick. If you said with, then bingo, you're correct. Because we're answering the question with what, the action is stirring the cake, but you need to stir the cake with an object. So what do you need to do the action? So it's with. Number 4, I cleaned the floor, a mop. Tick, 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 tick. If you said with, once again, you are spot on, correct. Because the action is cleaning the floor, but you need to ask yourself with what? What do I need to do the action? Not how, but with what? So we use with. Number 5, Derek found out that he got the job mail. Tick, 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 tick. By mail. That's correct. And once again, by mail is a collocation that describes an action. Number 6, Mary cut up all the sandwiches, a knife. Tick, 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 tick. If you said with, correct. Because cutting up, to cut up is a phrasal verb, so it's simply cutting the sandwiches, and you're not describing the action, but you're describing here with what. What do you need to do the cutting? You need a knife, therefore we say with. Number 7, my mother used to sew buttons, hand. Tick, 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 tick. Yes, if you said by, then you are correct. By hand is another collocation that describes an action. And let's look at the last sentence, number 8. I make my coffee, milk. Tick, 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 tick. If you said with, then you are correct. So making the coffee is the action. But what do you need to finish your coffee? You need milk. So it's with. So if you want to see the next series of prepositions, which next ones I'm going to talk about, then definitely hit subscribe and the bell. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.